Donald Trump's rally in Michigan tonight got off to a pretty tough start. First of all, the crowd was almost empty, a very small venue. Now Donald Trump is barely able to fill in one of the most important swing states in this election. So it was bad for that reason. But then only a couple of minutes into the actual speech, Donald Trump's mic got cut off. There were audio issues that lasted for about 10 minutes. It was an absolute mess. But somehow, some way, Donald Trump found a way to get it even worse from there. The speech only went downhill. It's surprising that it could get worse than that, but somehow it did, because Donald Trump's speech was so bad his audience couldn't take it anymore. Not only were people in the crowd leaving and you could see them walking out, but Fox News, yes, the Fox propaganda outlet, also had to cut off Donald Trump because it was so bad, and he's not happy about that. And we are going to get into it all. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, to hit that subscribe button and join the community that we are building on this channel. It goes a long way towards helping us grow. Now, let's get into some of this crazy rally from Donald Trump and the weird call to action he's making for voters.
Early voting is underway, so get everyone you know and go out and vote. Go tomorrow. It's just starting. Go and vote. Make sure you vote and bring all our friends that want to vote for us. Tell them, Jill, get your fat husband off the couch. Get that fat pig off the couch. Tell him to go and vote for Trump. He's going to save our country. Get that guy the hell off her. Get him up, Jill. Slap him around. Get him up. Get him up, Jill. We want him off the couch to get out and vote. Bring your friend.
I don't know if he's talking about Jill Biden or trying to compare his size to Joe Biden's. I don't know what couch he's talking about. J.D. Vance is probably pretty interested in whatever couch that is, though. But is this his call to action? Get your fat butt off the couch. We saw him do this on Long Island in a speech that he gave in New York as well, where he was attacking some random guy in the crowd saying, get your butt up, Harry. I don't know. He's confused. He's angry. He is just yelling at this point, and we see more of that right here.
But November 5th, 2024 will be Liberation Day in America. And when I get rid of this microphone at the end of this speech, it's going to be Liberation Day for Donald J. Trump, because I'm blowing out my voice to get this sucker done. I'm blowing out my voice.
What exactly do you plan to liberate us from? Because liberation implies freedom, something that you have clearly attacked at every stop in your political career. You are the person most responsible in the world for overturning Roe v. Wade. You tried to attack our freedom to vote when you went after democracy on January 6th, and of course, the days and weeks before it. So what liberation are you promising, Donald? There's no freedoms that you actually support. And speaking of which, President Obama was in Arizona tonight calling out Donald Trump for exactly that, his attacks on reproductive freedom. And I want to take a look at this clip.
I mean, I listened to some of the language that's being thrown around. Look, even on the most contentious issues, I've always said there are good people of conscience on both sides of the abortion divide. And I respect anybody whose faith tells them that it's not something that they would do, that they support. But if we believe in freedom, then we should at least agree that such a deeply personal decision should be made by the woman whose body is involved, not by politicians.
No one drives home a message like President Obama. And boy, that contrast, watching a little Trump, then President Obama, there couldn't be a bigger difference in the world. It couldn't be any clearer between someone who's sane in President Obama and someone who's insane in the former disgraced president of Donald Trump. And speaking of contrast, there's also a contrast between Donald Trump and our future president and Kamala Harris, who he tried to attack in the sorry, sad way he does always right here.
Has imported into our country or to say it a little differently, Kamala, but I don't give a damn if I pronounce it right. Who the hell can pronounce it?
This is what the campaign has really come to. Grievance, anger, mispronouncing Kamala Harris's name. Why? Not just because he's angry, but because what else does he have to talk about? No substance on his side, no critiques of Kamala Harris's agenda, only anger. And that is why MAGA, even MAGA, is tired. And that's why they're leaving. As we can see in this clip right here, check out the bottom right of the screen to see him leave.
Of the border. She's a grossly incompetent person, and we can't let this happen. We have to get the hell out and vote and get him out of here. First.
Donald Trump's own cult, his own audience, his own loyal supporters, they are fed up. They are tired. They are leaving early. They are exhausted. And it's not just the people in person. Even those in the comfort of their own homes would rather watch anything but Donald Trump. And that is why Fox News, the Fox propaganda network, let me say that more clearly, had to shut off Donald Trump. And we can take a look right here.
President, there are many different tax policies which could cripple the economy, but the first thing she wants to do is allow these Trump tax cuts.
So you've been listening to President Trump there in Detroit, Michigan. You heard him say that people call him a protectionist, but he wants to protect you, the American people, you, the American worker, explaining that quite clearly. But let's move now from Michigan, where you're watching President Trump, to Pennsylvania.
Now, Trump has been going to war with Fox. That just sounds so funny to say, doesn't it? But he's been going to war with Fox a lot lately. I am sure he is not going to like that. That's going to be pretty upsetting to Donald that they decided to just hit the kill switch on him. But I get it. The people in person are leaving. I'm sure the people watching are, as much as Donald wants to brag about his ratings, they're ticking down. It's the same old tired material. But someone who was trying to introduce, I guess, some new material or a new argument in this race was Lindsey Graham, who went on Fox and kind of screwed Donald with what he had to say right here.
What about the Supreme Court? If he's president of the United States with a Republican Senate, we can have a generation of conservatives on the Supreme Court. This is a very big deal to shape the court for the next generation.
Remember this moment, because I'm never going to say these words again. But thank you, Lindsey Graham. What a great reminder about the Supreme Court seats that are at stake in this election. There are two older conservative justices who could potentially retire in the 4 and hopefully 8 years of a Kamala Harris presidency. That is what is at stake here. That is a great reminder. Thank you, Lindsey. That was really kind of you to bring up the Supreme Court. That is another important message in the closing argument of this campaign, and I'm glad we're going to be able to talk about that. And of course, another one is, speaking of should retire, Donald Trump, who is clearly unfit to even be out on the campaign trail, much less be president. Kamala Harris is calling him out for that right here.
It's good to be back. And again, we have a situation where the former president is insulting the people of the state, this time saying that auto workers, that their important and good and highly skilled work could be performed by a child, which is just further evidence that Donald Trump comes from a place where he really does not appreciate or understand how most people in our country work very hard for all that they have, and that there is great dignity in their work. In addition, I've been hearing reports that his team at least is saying he's suffering from exhaustion. And that's apparently the excuse for why he's not doing interviews. And of course, he's not doing the CNN town hall. He refuses to do another debate. And, look, being president of the United States is probably one of the hardest jobs in the world. And so we really do need to ask if he's exhausted being on the campaign trail. Is he fit to do the job? And I think that's a question that is an open-ended question that he needs to answer.
He is too old. He is out of touch. He is deranged. How many more descriptions do we need to list to this guy? He's just annoying. We're tired of him. He seems tired of it as well. So how about we just all come to this nice collective agreement where you can just be done, Donald. We've had enough of you. You've kind of had enough of you. Your base, even they've had enough of you. So maybe we just cut it out. And of course, we also don't want the up-and-coming generation of MAGA either. It doesn't mean we want J.D. Vance, as Kamala Harris perfectly puts right here.
And Trump's running mate called your jobs table scraps, right? So let me just say, needless to say, I will always have your back. And we'll keep fighting to make sure that you keep your jobs right here in Lansing and keep these most noble and important jobs for America's strength. That's the work you all do. You know, Donald Trump, he also promised that he was going to stop offshoring. Remember that? Then he cut taxes for corporations that shipped 200,000 jobs overseas during his presidency. Cut the taxes for those corporations, okay? And awarded nearly $500 billion in federal contracts to companies that were offshoring jobs, okay? Follow the money. He gave your tax dollars to companies that were sending your jobs overseas.
Donald Trump and J.D. Vance are so one and the same in the way they're willing to sell anyone out for anything that benefits them. And that's what they'd want to do if they were in the White House. Sell out the middle class, sell out our democracy, sell out our country. If we're talking about Donald Trump's relationship with Putin. And we need to continue to call that out every single day. Only so few days left until this election. We're going to be working every single one of them. If you want to support that and the work that we're doing on this channel, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you're stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.